when we start the meeting, which we should start.
I'm going to go ahead and mute it all, okay, Paul?
Okay, yeah. And there's Sonia. Sonia, no, you've been here before.
You're muting now, okay?
Hey, Mike, also, let's try to keep it till 2:30 because I'm supposed to go some places. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, so for the new folks, welcome. These talks are under the category of non-duality, but what's talked about is really duality. So to get a certain basic understanding of these things will allow you to see the seamlessness of what's being presented. First, the idea or the assumption of non-duality is you are what you're looking for, or what you have been looking for, you already are. Yeah, that it doesn't have any goal in mind because you are at the goal. Yeah, you are what you're looking for, as Saint Francis said it once. What's looking is what you and I are looking for. Yeah, so this is the assumption of non-duality, that we are that. Yeah, that's indescribable, unattainable, incomprehensible, because we are that. Yeah, if it was something else, maybe we could describe it, but because it's what we are, I don't mean of form or of a moment in time, not that. That's the action figure. That's, let's say, the dreamt. But that which we are can't be understood because we are the understanding, yes, of everything. Yeah, it's just, and if you don't get that flavor, it's going to be confusing down the road, which is helpful at times. But then if it keeps staying confused, there needs to be a clarity about what's being presented and what's not being presented. What's not being presented is a way to arrive at where you already are. There is no way to arrive at where you already are. So skillful means may come about, but they're not the target. We're not trying to learn how to be a better, more clear person. Yeah, that's on that. Those are other topics and other avenues to go down. But the assumption is we are what we're looking for or what we're not looking for. We are that. Yeah, not as we think, not as we perceive, not as we experience, not as we hear an interpretation of, not of any of that. So as soon as the assumption is heard that you are what you're looking for, we switch to look at what we're not, yeah, to get an understanding. And what we look at is duality. So duality in its root form is subject-objectness, yes? Duality in its root form is subject-object. Now, what happens before subject and object is implied is seeing. So let's use the consciousness in contact. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching. Obviously, the one part of all those statements is ing. So it's an activity. Yeah, it's a verbing. There isn't a seer that's doing any seeing. There's seeing. Yeah. There's not a doer that takes a break and then starts seeing and then stops seeing, all the while seeing or not seeing is the seer. There's not that. This is what's being negated by the pointing of non-duality. The pointing of non-duality is a form of negation. We're looking at what we're not. So we're seeing what we're not with the hopes that it will dawn on us that we're seeing what we're not from what we are. Yeah, well, hallelujah. And that clears up a whole lot of stuff. So, all right, so the subject-objectness, how does that occur? Am I the seer before the seeing, or is there seeing that's claimed to imply the seer? Which one? Yeah, am I a seer always as a fact, noun, all the time, and I can be doing the verbing every once in a while called seeing, yeah? But I'm latently the seer at all times, or is there just seeing and then something in the mental processes claim the seeing to imply the seer? Which is which? Which one? Now, if you're in the first camp, I would direct you to other Zooms maybe, yeah? If you believe you're an inherent, long-lasting, independent seer, that you don't derive from the seeing, but you're the doer of the seeing, well, that's, you may have to go into intensive care, yeah, for a while. Yeah, it's not going to be an elective surgery. It's going to be like pulling out some heavy old teeth, maybe. So, but if you have the idea that, wow, life seems to be more of verbing than of noun verb. It does. I mean, that's how you feel it. So verbing would not be of duality. Yeah. The verbing claim to imply the noun is of duality. So non-duality is negating that. So, and what does this individual picture of Paul really represent? Is a movement of subject and object all day. Yeah. Sometimes I'm the thought about, sometimes I'm the looked at. If I look in a mirror or one of these Zooms, you can see yourself. Yeah. Sometimes I'm an object and sometimes I'm the seeing. I'm seeing all these other objects across the street at this beach. Yeah. So 1 second I'm the subject, the next second I'm the object, the next second I'm the subject, the next few seconds I'm the object. Yes. So you can't build a house on sand, yeah? As Jesus supposedly said. So the sand is duality or dualism, subject-objectness, yes? Subject-objectness. And from here is where you mostly desire stabilization because you're coming from that which is not stable, yeah? So of course, you think everything would be great if a really nice feeling would stabilize, but you can't stabilize. If you put an object on one of those old beds where you used to put like 50 cents in a thing next to the bed and it would vibrate and the massage bed would vibrate, that object on the bed isn't going to find peace. Yeah, it's going to be bouncing up and down, not of its own effort, but on what it's resting on. It's resting on a vibrating bed, so there's not going to be any rest. Yeah. Now, can you enjoy rest? You can, but not on the basis that you're relying on. You can't. Because why? I'll give you a simple example. If you're relying on the story that you're a long-lasting, independent, separate entity, that you're a thing, you're also believing that you're in time. So let's say right now you have a little sense of peace, but the mental state will get concerned that it may not have peace in 5 minutes from now. So it can't enjoy peace of mind because it's addicted to time. Yes, it can't enjoy it because even when it's really good, it has a thought that shows up that it may not be in about a half hour. Yeah, there's no enjoyment there. So, all right. So now you are what you've been looking for. You know, you are just that, period. Okay, now let's look at what's causing that to be not obvious, you know? Why can't we get, like if you're a lion, let's use that example as the message. If you hear you're a lion from someone who knows they're a lion, you would think it would be pretty quick communication if you already are a lion. Now, if you were a real sheep for 70 years, and someone came up and said, hey, you're a lion, you would there would be an immediate disputing of that message because you're a sheep, yeah? But what would happen is you're only taking yourself to be a sheep and you actually are a lion, yeah? So what would be the direction of the message? Would you keep talking to the sheep programming that it's a lion? No, you wouldn't, because all it's doing is reinforcing the idea of being a sheep. Because the message of I'm a lion will be turned into I can become like a lion based on I'm a sheep. Yeah, you're not going to beat that programming. You're not. So you want to speak through the seeming sheepness because it's not you to the lion. So how do you do that? The lion itself doesn't need to hear it's a lion. It is a lion. It needs to hear it's not a sheep. That's what it needs to hear. If you spend a 3-week retreat hearing about all that you are is consciousness, all you are is this, all you are is that, and as soon as you go to the cafeteria and they put out ice cream, and then you try to get the ice cream for everything else, there goes all you are is consciousness. It's been disputed by the programmed action figure. Yeah, you got to go to an 8-week retreat to try to get that feeling back, but it doesn't stabilize because the stable idea is you're a sheep. That's the stable idea. And that sheepness is blocking off. It's hearing the message of you're a lion, but it's neutering it by changing it. Yeah, because how can it entertain it's a lion at the same time entertaining it's a sheep? Yeah, so what happens is this message is hopefully going through, let's say, Stephen, not to Stephen. Yeah, we're trying to speak to what we are, not who we are. That's all. That's the direction. So the direction is negation. The target is what you are, not what you're not. I do not want to talk to the sheep and sit there next to the sheep and speak for 20 hours about being a lion. It doesn't go anywhere. The sheep will be, as soon as the 20 hours are done, the 21st hour, it'll be sheep again. Yeah. It's just stubborn. That's why I don't feel it works when someone says you're not a body, because what's hearing that message is a body. Yeah. So the only way you can understand you're not a body is as a body. That's not understanding you're not a body. That's understanding you're not a body from a body. There's a different understanding. That understanding keeps reinforcing the idea you're a body. It doesn't weaken it, it reinforces it. If you don't know that's going on, hearing you're not a body is going to make you feel like a body more and more and more. There's been people on some of these Zooms has done that. So let's learn from each other. Instead of going through years of I'm not a body, chanting I'm not a body as a body, just let's see the body from not a body instead of trying to see not a body from the body. Yeah, please. Yeah. What you are is always where you are. Yeah. So I can't miss the message. I just got to get it around your mental defenses, because your mental defense is like that statue with the 1,000 hands, and each one has a mitt on it, and it keeps catching the message and neutering it. So we're hoping to overwhelm that system and get sort of like the spiritual sperm. We're releasing a lot of sperm with the hopes that one will get through the defenses and get to the mother egg. And then the mother egg's going to get impregnated with an idea, which is what? You're not that. Yeah? And then the correction that never needed to be corrected is corrected, so to speak. Yeah? At least now you got the horse in front of the cart. You do. You will. And then maybe you'll start seeing, or you'll be more open to receiving juice from what you are instead of the constant propaganda of what you're not all day. Yeah? To me, it's almost like the story of what you're not is like a horizontal propaganda. It's of time. And then sometimes there's these vertical inserts, which is from what you are. Yeah? And after a while, you'll be able to recognize the source or the tree by its fruits. You'll feel it. You'll know. And then once your reliability is based on that which is reliable, the way you travel as Steve or as Paul is going to change. You're going to travel lighter. It's not going to be like the magical mystery tour where everything's going to get great, but whatever is in store for you as an action figure, you'll travel lighter through it. You will. Yeah, it's awesome. So, and then that's that. All right, what more does your action figure really want? It's to travel lighter because it could be traveling really heavy. And the dilemma is, it's one of the reasons why there's traveling heavy. So it can't lighten the load because it's part of the load. Yeah. So when you get interested in traveling lighter, it gets heavier because it's you, the you that you're not, that's getting interested in it. How are you going to bypass that? How are you going to get out of that which believes it's in? You've got to see it as not you. Yeah. And to me, that's the message of satsang, is to point out what we're not, hopefully to what we are. So some things become clear. Yeah. And then understanding can get based on that. And then there's some rooting. And then there's a sense of reliability, not based on circumstances and situations or emotional or physical or mental states, but prior to all those shifting, agitated states. Something that's not shifting and agitated will bring a lightness to that which is always shifting and agitated. Because the shifting and agitated can't produce it. All it does is produce more agitation. So, now, whoever's here is going to hear it the way they hear it, but I'm going to continually come here and try to keep putting the horse in front of the cart so hopefully one of you at least will finally get used to it and stop these fucking shenanigans and just start, all right, yeah. If not, if you don't really, if there isn't a sense that you are that non-duality will only be looked at as like a ladder, and it's not a ladder. Yeah, it's a fact. It's not like it's not there. It's not like it's there only, you break the glass and it helps you get out of some shit. It's not, that's not its point. Non-duality is a fact. There is not two. The subject objectness is an interpretive dreaming. It's not true. It's not factual. It appears to be true to us because we are true, we are factual, but it isn't. Yeah. So the story of Paul can appear to what I am as true for maybe 80 years, 70 years. So Paul can be taken seriously, but it's not going to be for fucking ever, I'll tell you that. Yeah. It's just, first of all, it's a boring topic, really, because there's too many Pauls. I mean, it's hard to be a special Paul when there's millions of me out here. Yeah. So once you start seeing the narrative going on, that which we're hearing all day isn't about us, you'll lose interest in it. And then you're going to gain interest in what's here and what's available. Not so much to you, but as you. Yeah. So, all right. Thanks.
And I need
Great.
to check. Hey, Malcolm. Hold 1 second. I just need to check about iPhone and Razia that haven't replied to me to make sure they're not Zoom bombers. iPhone, Razia. If you don't.
Do you have me? Are
Okay.
you hearing me, iPhone?
Oh, I thought you were Jimmy.
Oh, I am. I didn't know if you could see me.
No, it's the one that has an underscore iPhone.
Okay.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Let him,
Hello.
Hi.
Okay.
Mike, it's me, Isabel.
Okay. Great. Oh, hi, Isabel. Okay. All good. Thank you.
Isabel.
She's
I
Razia
know
for today.
about an 80-mile radius of where I am right now. All right, go ahead.
Okay, and first hand is Chris Luntz.
All right.
Hey, I just want to share something. Hillary and Kathleen have the same hand posture. They got resting their little hands, exact same. Wow, that's interesting. Is that a Chicagoan type of thing? Yeah, that's what you do.
This must be that we hang out so much together. We're learning from each other.
All right. Who is the other person?
Chris.
Chris.
Hey. So this isn't the first time I've ever heard you. I've actually listened to quite a bit of these. And this year is my first foray into anything. I didn't even know non-duality was a word prior to COVID, pretty much. But I was having a really hard time with inquiry at all, or even having the slightest idea how to get started or what it really meant. And it's like the other day, and I'm just trying to bounce this off a couple of people, and I'm glad that I finally had time to sit in with you, is that I was talking, and I know I come from 12 step too, and I noticed that sometimes when I'm talking, it's not my words. And it kind of snowballed like into, not only am I using other people's ideas and terminology and stuff that's been implanted is just coming out of my mouth constantly. It also kind of like made me look at pretty much everything that I might be doing in any given instant, like that being like, when I'm angry, where did I learn this anger or these reactions from? Like, where did likes and dislikes? I was bouncing this off my old lady, and she was talking about how she didn't like coconuts, and it's almost easier to see in other people at the moment. And it's not, she's just like, I just don't like coconuts. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's it. I don't think it's that you just don't like coconuts, because it's probably because she goes, oh yeah, well, I was in a car one time and it had one of those fresh coconut car, deodorizer things, and it made her sick. And so now every time she smells coconut, she just thinks it's disgusting because she remembers, so there's this whole, like, I started seeing it as like, so that, like, when you're talking about selfing, man, it's like, I think it's starting to kind of come into focus a little bit, where it's like, it's not that I don't like coconuts comes after the fact of whatever, puking from coconut smell, or what would be labeled coconut smell, right? And so this recall comes up, and we attribute it, after the fact to whatever my personality, I just deem it to be this attribute of myself all of a sudden. And so,
Yeah. Well, that's what the selfing does. The selfing claims everything that happens, or that it becomes conscious of happening, to imply the one it happened to.
right.
Yeah. So all there was a smell of this coconut.
Right.
Yet the narrative now has it, I don't like coconuts. You see?
Yeah.
So this is what it does. It claims something and it makes something out of it. Yeah. And then what happens is that something out of it is assumed to already be so. And then the head just piles on from there. Yeah.
That
So
makes sense.
no one here, if no one here is in the experience of becoming self. The feeling is, I am one already. Yeah. It's quite different. When selfing is happening in the head, which is basically all the time that you're conscious, the selfing implies you already are a self. It's not, you don't see it as building to that idea. You believe it's the self is doing the selfing. That's how insane it is.
Yeah.
Selfing is either seen as it's doing something to me, or I'm the me that's doing it. Neither of them. All there is the selfing. They were made up. Yeah, the idea of you's made up. Yeah, it's made up. The verbing of life, what's happening, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, is being used to imply there's a historical seer, feeler, taster, toucher, which isn't the case. That's all. So basically, for that story to go on, there's got to be a loss of interest in actually what's happening and a gain in interest in what's not happening, because that's where self abides in what's not happening. You're remembered. Yeah. You're remembered in the past, you as this idea of self, and you're being remembered by worrying about the future. The remembering's happening now. Yeah. So the mental state is remembering self now by picturing you in the past and by worrying about you in the future. Because in both in the past and the future, you're held as the same thing, a body. You are. That's how you're pictured. You can't see spirit. Yeah. But an image can be gone over and over and fucking over again. So it's a mental addiction. Yeah, alcoholism is like an addiction, is a disease that needs to have the base disease to grow on. So it needs obsession with self to grow on. Alcoholism, yeah. Without the identification as self, alcoholism wouldn't grow, because alcoholism is just an extreme version of obsession with self. It's not no different. It's just an extreme version with extreme traits and symptoms that are more noticeable because of the extremeness. Yeah. So someone who's in active alcoholism, is probably going to get intervened by the cops, by an accident, by his family. Someone in just addiction to self can go on for fucking a long, long time, and there's not going to be an intervention. Yeah, there isn't. It's just going to go on and on and on. People will go to thousands of spiritual meetings, and not once will that meeting be interrupted and they'll be dragged out of the meeting. Yeah, they won't. Yeah. So basically, the addiction to self goes on and on and on and on and on. Yeah. And I truly do not believe alcoholism is the end all or be all. Alcoholism amplifies the addiction to self. That's what it does. And it makes the need to get out of it so severe, you'll do some crazy shit. But everyone who is engaged as that addiction to self wants to get out of self. I mean, going shopping, doing everything, taking that extra piece of cake, they're all feeble attempts to get out of what they think they're in most of the time. So I mean, it gets flamboyant when it gets extremely obsessive. And therefore, like for me, if I drink and use, there's an energetic dog whistle goes out to people in uniform. While I'm not drinking and using, I'm not attracting the people in uniform as much. Yeah. Because it's muted a little, but the addiction to self is still there, can still be there. Yeah. So, yeah.
So it's like there's this composite, like that's almost like built around nothing, like
Exactly.
like
It's
paper mache, like, you know what I mean, like one of those paper mache things or something.
Yes, exactly. And so the way you've been addicted to it, when you look at it, you see it as a 4-foot thick wall house.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just such an assumption that it was there and it's going to be there. Therefore, it is here now. But it isn't here now. It's appearing here now through us. It's not here. There is no self. There's selfing. There is no self. You're not a long-lasting, independent, separate thing. You're not. You didn't even think you were when you were a baby. There was no sense of self when you were a baby until about 16 months. So you have evidence even in the dream that you're not this, because you were doing a lot of shit as a baby, not thinking you were a baby. There was no need to be Paul, yet you were shitting and, going crazy. Yeah. So there was living going on seemingly without Paul, and there's living going on right now seemingly without Paul. Yet if you're addicted to the narrative, you don't think so. You think Paul is the whole end all be all. Yeah. That's why the lion doesn't need to hear it's a lion. It needs to hear it's not a sheep, because the sheep programming is blocking the message, I'm a lion, from the lion. It's not getting through. There's something going on. We can't hear. We can't hear the message because the hearer of the message is co-opted. Yeah, it's made up. Yeah, so that's why we do these talks. We don't take every 5 minutes a deep breath and go into silent repose. We try to overwhelm everybody because I know you're only a 3-ball juggler. You can't take much more. Overwhelm the system. The ball drops there, and then yet something continues. When the selfing stops, something continues. When the selfing stops, something continues. There is something here that's never not been here. Yeah, there is. That which was seeing, just as on my worst day there was seeing, on my best day there was seeing. The seeing is always there. Yes? The seer and seeing is made up, but the seeing ain't. Yeah. I don't mean visual, I mean awareness. Yeah.
So for you, and this is just a question I've been wanting to ask, it's just, did you have a prolonged period of inquiry, like looking at yourself that way, looking at, the Paul character or
I guess
whatever?
I had as long as it was necessary. I don't know if I would call it prolonged.
Well, I mean, like, was it strictly 12-step, or was it did you have to look outside of I've been doing
No, I heard the message outside of AA. What we did is try to bring it back to AA.
Yeah.
No, the AA, well, it didn't come inside anything really. It came to me, but AA as a community doesn't have a clear understanding of the root of the problem. They have a clear understanding of its manifestations. Yeah, but I don't believe they had, as a group, we don't have a platform of non-self yet in AA. We're attempting to lay one down in our feeble attempts, but yeah.
All right.
I mean, how are you going to be free from that which defeats you if you believe you're that which defeats you? You have to see it as something other than you to be free from it. Without that understanding, you're trying to be free as it. That's the bondage of self. One of the biggest aspects of bondage of self is trying to be free as it. That's one of the biggest aspects, because you're hoping you're going to get out, and it makes it worse to be in. The in that you're not in gets worse with all your attempts to get out. It's insane. Yeah? This is a freedom before. See, I do not believe there's self and I have to get out of it. I believe there's no self and I was never in it. And this has worked a whole lot better than the former one. The latter understanding is just works so much better than the former one. Yeah. I had a blast one time. It showed me like 30 years of living in a nanosecond, and basically everything that was being expressed was under the theme of self trying to get out of self. That's what it was. I didn't know that was going on because I was calling one of those selves Paul. So it was Paul trying to get out of self, and I really believed Paul could get out of self. And I was proven incredibly wrong. And then when I heard the message, self can't get out of self, and I didn't exclude myself from calling me Paul. I agreed with, hey, self, aka Paul, trying to get out of self doesn't work. Yes, I'm a true believer of that. Yeah, this is part of the message here. One of the things it's like a rude realization. And the realization is, hey, I've been trying to get out of self as self my whole life. Yeah. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't I didn't stay at the retreat long enough, or I didn't kiss enough spiritual teachers' feet or anything like that, or I didn't walk around the statue enough times. It was self can't get out of self. No one's going to get out of what they're not in. No one. No one's getting out of what they're not in if they believe they're in it. They're not. Yeah, you see, you're not that. That's where the freedom lies. The freedom is before bondage. The freedom is inherently always available at all times, right where you are, with no requirement necessary, except for the ones you make up, you know? Yeah. Yeah, all right, let's go. Thank you, my friend. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Josh.
Josh?
Yep. Hey, Paul. So, quick question, and I'm just going to ask the question. I'm not going to debate with you, so you could just answer. I was doing a little bit of reflection the other day since I've joined a new 12-step fellowship, and what I realized was that, oh my God, like a lot of my life, I've had this kind of victim mentality that has been present, but it wasn't like this dramatic story of, oh my God, I've been a victim. It's just like, oh, I think of myself as a victim of the system. And my question is, like, can the realization be, soft, that it's just like, oh, like I just don't have to be that anymore? Or
For
does it
sure.
always have to be painful?
No, it doesn't have to be. Because the thing is, that felt like a victim before isn't you. Yeah. So the worst thing is realizing, thinking you're a victim and then realizing you were a victim. You're neither of those. You weren't a victim, nor are you the non-victim. Yes?
Yeah.
So of course, if you're in that, there's a lot of acceptance with the idea that you were a victim because you weren't. There's a lot of acceptance of it. Yeah. There's
Yep.
no whipping it into a new position. There's an acceptance of it. Yeah. Yeah. Based on you're not that.
Yeah, and I think what I'm feeling right now is that, what I'm feeling is, it's like, oh, it doesn't have to have the story doesn't have to have any validity anymore.
Well, it never did really. So yeah, you're on to the fact. It's not just changed something. The fact is it never had any validity. It only has what we've given it.
And that's on the level of the action figure.
The action figure believes it had validity as long as it believes it's an action figure. That's the system supports the system, so to speak. I wanted to share something that catches this flavor very well. Yeah, famous master Ramana Maharshi. If you don't know of him, interesting character. So there's a lot of, in AEA we have the same thing. There's a lot of debate between God's will and our will or whatever. Yeah. And then in spirituality, a lot of people want to know, is this predetermination or free will or whatever? So here's a great master. He basically says, I'm 200% in agreement with this, if that means anything. Free will exists together with the individuality. Yeah. So when you, as what you're not, the programming of action figure Josh or Paul believes it's an action figure, that programming comes along with the idea that there's free will. Yeah. Now, a lot of people who want to know if there's free will are speaking from the individuality. You see the pointlessness of it? The pointlessness is trying to convince the individuality that it has no free will, when its complete programming is it has free will. And if the individuality tries to go in there and tinker with the free will, it'll be living a narrative of free will. It went in there and chose to tinker with the free will. So it's beautiful here. It says, all right, so free will exists. All of these things are possible because we are possible. We're entertaining everything. Yeah. We are possible. So, yeah. The sense of individuality only exists because we are believing it. And the idea of free will only exists because we, yeah, we're it. We're it. Yeah. All right. So he goes, free will exists together with the individuality. As long as the individuality, so here's the key. As long as the individuality lasts, so long is there free will. So the free will isn't existing in and of itself. It's part of a package deal. If you buy the individuality, it comes with a free accessory called free will. You can't separate the package and only get the individuality without the free will. It comes with the package. So what happens if you finally hear this? You forget about it. Yeah. Yeah. If you feel like you have free will, do the next right thing. That's all. Simple. What? Oh, but does it exist or doesn't exist? It exists as much or as less as you do, really. The you that you're not. Why? I don't see the fucking stubbornness of it all. All right, so here he goes. Find out who is it who has free will or predestination and abide in that state. Because you won't find it, the one who thinks it has free will and individuality isn't you. Yeah? So you don't throw out the individuality and keep the free will, or the free will at the individual. It's a threesome. You throw out the individuality and the free will, and the one who thinks they have individuality or free will or doesn't have individuality. They all go out. It's not, you can't go, oh, I'm going to throw one out and keep the other two. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. They all go. So, and they're not even
Menage a trois only works if there's three people.
never there to begin with. So find out who it is who has free will or predestination and abide in that state. Then both are transcended. The free will and the predestination, not by you, but by seeing you're not the you who thinks about that shit. Yeah? So then both are transcended. That is the only purpose in discussing these questions about free will and shit, is not to throw out the free will but throw out the fucking the Trinity, the trifecta. Yeah. You don't throw them out. I'm just embellishing. You see they're not you. See, this is how the sense of you gets reinforced by yapping about individual free will and predestination. And then, yeah, the individuality, yeah, is also something that reinforces the you again. Oh, am I an individual or am I a drop of the ocean of every, you're neither of those fuckers as what you're talking from. Yeah. What's talking isn't that nor this. It's neither of them. Yet it's thinking it could be both. It could be one. On a good day, it's the drop of the ocean. On a bad day, it's the fucking, fatalistic flame of personality. And you'll have groups and groups debating this shit, while the thing that's claiming to be you is just loving all the adulation going its way. Yeah? Boom. He says here, and he was a pretty nice person, seemingly, which I don't have that quality. He says here that the only purpose in discussing these questions is to whom do such questions present themselves? Yeah. Because there's a subtle reinforcement when you're building it up and breaking it down. Both are reinforcing the you. Yeah. Both. There isn't the good way and the bad way. Any way reinforces the one who's on the way. Any way can be used to reinforce the one that's on the way. That's why we're going to that one. I don't care, turn left, turn right, who gives a shit, really? It's not you. You know what I mean? What can going on the wrong path show you? It's wrong, so it had value. What's going on the right path show you? There's no need for a path. Hey, there's value. Yeah? You're the giver of all meaning. It doesn't have to be antagonistic meanings. They can be a win-win. You can see, hey, when I fucked up, there's value. When I do well, there's value. So then the pressure's off of doing so well and doing so badly. Yes. Because, there's a seesaw. Yeah. And there's the axis. The axis is this subtle sense of being the one who thinks it has free will or predestination. Yeah. That's what all this is trying to disguise and put the attention on this and this. See the axis. Who is it about? Who really gives a shit about? Do you think I spend any time during the day thinking about, do I have free will or this predestinated? Fucking no. I go put on my pants. Yes. I'm going to ponder these heavy messages. Who's going to do that? Yeah, that's the point of the message, is who's that? Yeah. All right. The sun has moved. I'm getting cooked like a little lizard.
Like a Thanksgiving turkey?
Eh?
Like a Thanksgiving turkey?
Yes, like a leftover. All right, who's the next person? Nice to see you, Josh.
Thanks, Josh. Stephen. What's up? And it's
Stephen?
Hi. Hi.
Hi, yeah, I can hear you. Just
All right. Sorry. No, it was just, I really enjoyed your share. I'm in 12-step recovery, and I heard you on YouTube, and I heard you talking about A Course in Miracles.
yes.
And I'm on day 280 of A Course in Miracles, and I think I've heard you speaking at a Ramesh Balsekar. I've read
Yes.
some of his books and stuff like that as well. But I've not got a lot of inner dialogue in my mind. But there still feels as if there's a shadow of the self. Even when you were talking, I was feeling uncomfortable, even though there's no inner dialogue. But I really enjoyed what you had to say anyway. That's me. Thanks.
Hey, can you just say the word miracle again? I love how you say it.
Miracle.
Miracle. I got to record that. If I had an audio book, I'd use that as the title. Say A Course in Miracles.
A Course in Miracles.
Yes, A Course in Miracles. That already brought me to the last page. I love it. A Course in Miracles. Yes, that's awesome, bro. Yeah, I got to be careful what I suggest in these videos. People may be buying those things, but you can't go wrong with them. The Course in Miracles, I just was presented it, and I laughed a lot because it really described what I was calling my house as a house of cards. And one of the most powerful ones was lesson 2. You and I give everything all the meaning it has. Yeah. That became very, very clear. And what does that imply after a while? That this event is what could be defined as dreaming. Yes. Not as a dream, but as a dreaming, like always active. That's the best description I ever ran into, was the Course in Miracles, or the Course in Miracle description of dreaming. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. And one of the profound ones it says is like a diagnostic of everyone's day, which is you and I, Steve and I, are the dreaming of the dream. I don't like the word dream because it means like it's a thing, but let's say you and I are the dreaming of the dreaming. That's the assumption, yes? They're presenting that out as a fact, but you're sitting here, hopefully you're willing to hold it that way. You and I are the dreaming. We forget that we're dreaming. Yeah. Now, this is what was keen for me. How does that forgetfulness come about? Well, it became obvious that the dreaming becomes identified as the dreamt, yes? So that which is dreaming becomes identified as the dreamt, which is Paul, let's say. So, all right, so now you and I are the dreaming of the dreaming is one condition. That gets seemingly forgotten, and now a new condition, which is dreaming, gets placed, which is the dreamt, yeah? Has forgotten that it's dreaming and now gives everything it's dreaming the power to affect it as the dreamt. Incredible diagnosis, if you can hear it, yeah? So the dreamt isn't true. That's the out, so to speak. Yeah, you don't have to change the flow of the dreaming. You just see it's not true, yeah? No matter how true it feels, it's not true. It has to feel true to you, which is true. You that you are, yeah? Yes? What would happen if that became more of the basis? Then a lot of shit like forgetting it wouldn't happen. And then a lot of shit wouldn't seem real if that was clear. Yes? That's all we're attempting to sort of abide in a way. So, all right, you and I are the dreaming of the dream. We forget that we're dreaming by identifying as the dreamt. Yeah? In this condition, everything we're giving meaning to now starts having the ability to give meaning to us. So let's say I gave a meaning to a thought as my thought. Yeah? It was just a thought, yes? But somehow it's now held as my thought, the dreamt. So I now own the thought, and what happens? The thought can own me. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A thought can ruin my day. When you were a kid, a young kid, a thought never ruined your fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
But now it ruins a lot of people's day. Yeah? How is that? Because we forgot that we're dreaming. And in that condition, we're giving everything we're dreaming, which are thoughts and feelings and actions, the ability to affect us. They don't have it in and of themselves. They have to be given to it by us. And it's given to us by our forgetting we're dreaming and by remembering we're the dreamt. Yeah. So now we feel like a victim. Now we see the dreaming as a real world. Now we miss the statement of the Course in Miracles, which is projection first, then perceiving. We believe perceiving is first. And in our perceiving, we think it's real. Yeah, there you go. Everything that goes on here is built on patterns. It's built on ideas misplaced. Yes? The dreaming has a foundation. First of all, the foundation of dreaming is time and space. That's definitely the foundation. And then there's other foundations within that foundation. If you only want to know how to get out of a house that you truly believe you're in, you're going to have to get a lot of skillful means. If you see the house you thought was in the blueprint phase, you won't try to get out of it because you never have the house built. Yeah. So, yes.
Yeah.
There's a huge difference. There's a huge difference in where your seeing starts at. If you're seeing from square 8, you may have lost the game already. If you're seeing from square 0, you may recognize it as a game. And you may recognize every square I go to is an appearance of square 0. So am I going anywhere? Really, no. Yeah. If I get to square 28, it's square 0. If I get to square 58, it's square 0. How many squares do you have to arrive at to realize it's square 0? Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking square 38 takes away the reality of square 0, it's all square 38. It ain't. There's always square 0 with all the other squares. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I can't stay on much longer, so let's one more, Mike.
Thanks
I
a
don't.
lot.
I gotta drive to LA, and yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I have a certain plan, which I know Jono could fuck up with one of his questions, but I'm opening up to one more.
Okay.
Yes, it's not my plan.
Josh
For
O.
another 2 hours. What?
Josh O. Then.
Josh O?
That's me. There's two Joshes here. I'm the other Josh. This is a great privilege. Thank you so much, Paul, and thank you everybody. It's great to be in this space with you. I'm not yet sure what my question is, exactly how to say it, but there's, the years of conditioning I love the story of me, just like everybody else loves the story of me, and I'm stuck in, I'm a parent, so I've watched humans come to Earth and not yet have a story or a name that they attach all the shit in the story to. And I don't know. I'm just there's something. I mean, I hear what you're saying about square 0, and let me see if I can get there this way. I feel like I've done a bunch of work this year that took me to a place where there was a sensation almost like the fear of death that was coming from. It was like the thing that I think is me was dying. And even though I know it's not me, it still scared the shit out of me to approach its death, if that makes any sense at all. And I don't quite know how to jump off the cliff, even though I know that what I'm looking at is an illusion. I don't quite know how to leap into hang gliding without a hang glider, because that's what it feels like, kind of from this side of the fence.
Yeah, but see, that which is using that statement to claim there's a someone called Josh that's afraid to jump off the cliff
is already bullshit.
It's all bullshit. Yeah. Sorry.
but I guess I'm used to operating by means of the stuff that, it's sort of like a rejection of everything that I'm used to or something. I don't quite know how to phrase it or understand it.
The selfing, see, all the shit that you've been doing was being done without a self. It's just used activity. There was a using of activities to imply one. There's never been a self. So it's not like you're going to get used to a new paradigm. That thing that says it's got to get used to was never in the first paradigm. It's just it's a mechanical point. If it woke up in heaven, it would claim to be the one that wasn't in heaven and arrived here under false pretenses and now feel like it's going to get evicted from heaven every day. This is what it does, yeah?
I suspect I did awake in heaven and did do what you I feel like that's what I'm doing already.
Well, you're not, thank God. See, that's the beautiful thing. It's not you doing it. That's where the real relief comes from. You know how much pent up anxiety is that we're coiled as the doer?
Yes, I have. Only a little. Yes.
In the bed we're getting fucked over in. Yeah. It's it. I swear to God. That's it. The sense of being the doer and the affiliation with the body is one of the concrete little platforms it relies on. Yes, for sure. So there's no way to see you're not the doer as a doer. You see you're not that. Yeah.
Well, and it's and then so the intellectual ability to understand that that a made up entity here is trying to save itself, has not solved my problem. Like, you know,
Well, yes, because all right, so now you've seen the self as the thief, but the intellectual is the self appearing as the policeman.
ay, ay, ay.
No, there's not that many of them. It's a combo. It's like it either comes with fries or onion rings. There's not many more. It's just a fucking hamburger. All you
That-
need to do is see that when you see both, you've gotten over the addiction to the Happy Meal, so to speak.
I sort of get you.
It's all right, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I
You don't
appreciate.
need to get much. You really
What?
don't, because the ping it's going to hit, there's a real thing in there that ping is going to hit. So you don't need a cacophony of sounds. It's one sound of silence is more than can do the job.
Well, you know,
Talking, see, we're speaking in the influence of a huge fact. Yeah. Like a way to become a better self. It's negating that whole activity of that self-promoting a promoter. Yeah.
well,
See, you're going to be more of it than ever, but you'll be chilled out about it. Yeah.
well, and I, you know, oh God, there's a lot more than you have time for here, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Well,
But you can come back, Josh.
it's great to have contact with you and with everybody here. Thank you guys so much. It's
You're welcome. We like to have you here too.
thank you.
But you're on probation still, so
What do you
can't-
mean? What do you mean? Because I'm
Well,
new?
Tread carefully. That's all I'll say. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone. Eh? I thought this was a nice, short, sweet meeting. Yeah. There's a lot to chew on. Eh? From Joe Bronx to
Burger.
all right. We see Mike. Hey, Mike. Thanks again for everything. Thank you. Mike is the platform keeper. Yes. Kerry, nice to see you. Draw Monk, as always. Josh, nice to meet you again.
Nice to
Judith,
meet you. Thank you.
fantastic. You're in the kitchen now. Yeah. Robert French, my friend from New Zealand.
Hi, Paul.
Glenda O'Driscoll, my first Irish devotee of Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
We got Chris Blake. Nice to see you, Chris. Travel well, my friend. We got Kathleen. She's got the hand posture again. Okay, Kathleen. We got Kenneth. Nice to see you, Kenneth. Hillary, pleasure to meet you. I hope you guys come back. Yeah, we got Beth. Nice to see you, Beth. And Kathleen. Kathleen, how are you today? Kathleen Kahn. Good, good, good. Very good. Thanks. John K. As always. Sylvester Fraser, the man behind, actually before the blinds. We got Walter. We got Raven from British Columbia. Nice to see you, Raven. We got Roman. Oh, there he is. He's got a strange little A-frame in Germany. He's on the top of the A there. Yeah. All right, Roman. Nice to see you. Tariq, pleasure. There's Mahavir, my leading Zen bitch slapper, my Portuguese Zen bitch slapper. Yoo-hoo! A very, very, very strange species. Yeah. We got Donna Stevens. Nice to see you, Donna. Joseph C. As always, a pleasure, Joseph. Yeah. We got Lynn. Lynn, I can't see you so well, but you see it. We got Mike. We got Ina. Nice to see you, Ina. We got Tom Hart. Oh, there he is. Tom Harmon. Maria from Auburn. Oh, well, Maria. Good, good. We got Gary C. Gary and actually Maria met. Nice to see you, Gary, from the corner. We got Ben. Nice to see you, Ben. what I'm looking at looks just like your background right now. It's beautiful. Drew, pleasure. Oh, I missed someone. Michael from the peninsula, south of Melbourne.
Hey,
Nice
Paul.
to see
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Welcome. Ben Clark, the poet laureate of Zen Bitch Slap. Yeah, we got Chris. Chris, as always, thank you for the support. The silent structure of the whole Zoom. We got, let's see, Anna's come to another position. Peter L., nice to see you, Peter, from Seattle. Jimmy's, nice to see you, Jimmy. Jack G. We got Rob, Keith, a big cat there.
Yeah.
We got Tina T. Nice to see you, Tina. Yes.
Oh, dear.
We got Yariv. We got Norman. Norman, nice to see you, Norman. Alan. We got Andrea. Don't call them Norwegian, please. Keep that clear. Andreas. From Norway. No, from Sweden. Glenda, again, Keith, Stephen, Richard, whom? Suzanne M, Joe Bronx, John S, Mike Servini. We got Navdeep, Faye, Michael, Julie, Vicky. We're going to have there's going to be a newsletter for Zen Bitslap. I'm going to do something, a 2-day thing in January, and we'd like to get people's emails. We'll have it. We can send you updates of what we're doing, if you don't mind. So if you're interested, on the website, something will come up. If you can put your information, that would be great. Thanks. Michael Lying, and a lot of other people, and Anonymous. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you on Tuesday, Thursday, or
Take care.
Ciao, Paul.
Thanks, Paul.
Bye, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Take care.
Thanks, Paul.
Safe
Bye-bye.
drive.
Ta-ta.
Drive
Jimmy, you
careful.
can go first next time if you're here.
Thanks, Mike, for holding down the fort.
Yeah, thank
See ya.
Oh.
Thanks, Mike.
Hi, Mickey.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.
I think I'm going to title this episode Menage a Trois on a Seesaw.
Whoa.
Hey, Mike, is there a way? I don't know if my video's showing, and if not, is there a way that I need to know so I can make that happen?
See ya.
It is showing.
We see you, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's just a little icon on your square that will show a cross through the video icon if it's not on.
Oh, okay.
And then you can turn it on that way.
Gotcha.
But if it always says Jimmy's iPhone, I'll recognize it now anyway. So it's okay.
Okay.
Hey, Mike, you're still recording.
Oh, thank you.